Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to November's Birds of Essex. How are you, Steve?
Very well, thank you, Matt.
Have you dried out?
Dried out a little bit from this morning's escapades. But yeah, good evening, everybody.
Hello.
How are you doing there, Matt?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, again, I've dried out. I think I've still got hat hair, but we'll explain why we were a little bit wet a bit later on for those of you that don't know. So we've got quite a bit coming up on the show tonight. As always, if you want to, you can contact us via email and by asking a question in the chat on YouTube. So if you're tuned into your YouTube via a Gmail account, you can ask a question and we'll come back to you as always. And if you want to email us, I'm just trying to get the screen up here. Hold on one second. Here we go. So tell me if this is working. Ta-da. And go.
We will have no technical issues tonight. So
yeah, hopefully not. Well, we're still here. I think by this time last month I'd disappeared, hadn't I?
You had, yes.
So we're doing quite well so far.
And I was panicking slightly. So yeah.
So yeah, basically, if you logged into YouTube via Gmail, you can ask a question in the chat if you want to. And alternatively, if you've got anything to email us, you can do so at ebwstalks@gmail.com. So nice and straightforward. And that's basically the same as normal.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
So yeah, it's been a busy month, hasn't it? Lots of stuff been going on, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, for those who obviously everyone is aware, it's the photographic competition. The final is still running.
Absolutely. So at the moment, the final is very, very close. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and bring it up on screen without showing what the current standings are, if I can do that. Hold on. I hope this doesn't go wrong. There we go. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay, so this is on Twitter. So if you go to @EBWS tweets, the final is up and running and you can choose from any of the 4 photographs on the screen there. I don't know if I can make them bigger without revealing anything. I hope so. There we go. Does that work?
You can do. Yep.
Excellent. So we've got photograph number 1, which is a water vole and a little grebe. Photograph number 2, which is a small flock of starlings, and in their lovely colourful plumage in the sun. Photo number 3, a shoal of sanderling and dunlin taking off, flurry of activity there. And photograph number 4, we've got this rather lovely spotted flycatcher with I don't know, what dragonfly is that, do you know?
Common darter.
Darter?
Young common darter, yeah.
So they're all on our Twitter page, EBWS Tweets, and they're also on Facebook as well. So if you want to vote, you can vote on Twitter, you can vote on Facebook, or you can even send your favourite via email to ebwsphotos@gmail.com. And it's quite close at the moment, isn't it?
We're close. And how long have we got left before the final vote?
About half an hour. I think it finishes about 8 o'clock.
So if you haven't voted, get your vote in now, because as Matt said, the votes are neck and neck. So we'll wait and see who the winner is. Exciting stuff.
What's coming up on today's show then?
Well, firstly, Matt, we've got lots of stuff in the chat already this evening.
Okay.
We've got lots of people we've got Sue Hill from Dorset. Good evening, Sue.
Hello.
We've got Craig from Leicestershire.
Blimey. Hello.
That is really foreign. That is Leicestershire.
That's like north and south or west, isn't it? Yeah.
Crikey, yeah. And Catherine Studd. So it's her first time here. So good evening to everybody.
Yes.
Old viewers and new viewers. We love you all.
Absolutely, definitely. Thank you for putting up with us for an hour and a half. Because if it wasn't for you guys watching, I'd have to put up with Steve on my own. And to be fair, I don't know if I could do that. So
no, likewise. To be fair, Matt.
Thanks, mate.
I see enough of you as it is. So I love you, really.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Titchwell. We had a field trip to Titchwell recently, and that was really good. We had another event this morning, didn't we? A sea watching event at Frinton, which was rather wet, but also really quite good fun, actually, wasn't it? So we enjoyed that. And we're also going to be talking about the photo competition winner, obviously. That will be revealed in the second half of the show. Usual sightings roundup, a look ahead to the society events in the run-up to Christmas. And we're going to be doing our new feature, Webwatch, which is where we look at a new website and recommend something to you. And I've literally, while Steve was getting a cup of tea just before we started, I've just introduced another new feature, which my other half, Tina, will be very happy about. I'm not going to tell you what it's called, but we'll come to it a little bit later on.
I think.
Probably.
I think.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Okay. What's first?
So, what have we got? So, I don't know what we got. I'm trying to read my sheet here.
Hang on a minute. Richard Hughes just said, "Is anyone else watching the World Cup?" The other night, some bloke called Matt Turner was playing in goal for the USA. I was actually, yeah. I must admit, I did look a little bit younger, and I had to put on one of those suits to make you lose a little bit of weight, but I did quite well, I thought.
Well done.
Yeah, thanks.
You mean there's two of you?
Well, they're actually. It looks like there's two of me most of the time, anyway, doesn't it? So let's not go there. Only from certain angles.
So
Right, what are we doing first?
Well, we've got a few news items, haven't we? Just general birding, just world birding news stuff, which we thought we picked out a few points this month that we thought might be of interest to those watching tonight. So what are we going to do first? We're going to do owls first.
Yeah, we could do, but
unfortunately, I can do
herring
gulls. We can do anything we like.
Yeah, if you do one of yours first, that'd be good, because one of mine's not loading for some reason, so I need to have a look at that.
So back in, now I've no idea when it is, because I'm trying to read my sheet. Let's share screen. Oh, hold on, this is all going horribly wrong tonight. You know, just when I thought I was prepared, here we go, we'll try again. So back in earlier in the year, so hopefully you can see this screen.
Yes, yeah, got that.
So back in August, Claire Ward, who lives up in Dovercourt and she's watching tonight, was she was bought a juvenile herring gull that was bred in Braintree, and it wasn't. I don't think it was doing too well. It wasn't flying, or I don't know what quite it was. It wasn't in good shape. So it was taken to Claire in Dovercourt, where it was ringed, colour ringed, and it stayed around for about a month. And then Claire went off on holiday, and then when she came back, the gull wasn't there. And the next sighting of it was, a month later, October, and it's in Madrid.
Good grief.
Which is amazing. I mean,
that is incredible.
Yeah,
so Claire had kind of rehabbed the gull, I take it. That's what Claire does, doesn't she?
Absolutely. Yep, she'd rehabbed the gull. So I just stopped sharing. I'm just going to show you a picture of it.
Okay.
Just find the share screen button down the bottom there.
What I want to know, I don't know if is Claire watching. I think she's watching.
She is watching, yeah.
I want to know, what did she do to this gull to make it fly all the way to Madrid to get away from her?
She probably fed it chorizo.
Yeah.
If certain members of your bird can have pork sausage meat, then this gull can have chorizo. So,
oh, fantastic! That is, you know what? That's a really, really good story, because without Claire, this gull may not have made it. Even, you just don't know.
Absolutely.
And now it's sunning itself in Spain. So
yeah. And then for those, I mean, I don't know, for those who joined us for the Big County Birdwatch, Claire again found a herring gull with a colour ring on at Holland Haven when we were doing one of our guided walks there, and that turned up in Belgium this week.
Good grief.
So,
and that's why, again, it's so important to report these rings, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And as you saw on that photograph, you can read the number. It was N1UT was the ring number. So again, you can report where you've seen it, the species, and you'll get back a history of if the gull's been seen or not. Great way of learning where the birds come from.
Talking of rescuing birds, one of my little stories I found online. Some people may have already seen this, but I did like this. It tickled me. Is this one? Can you see this?
Yeah.
So this is a long-eared owl, which I've still not seen a long-eared owl, but this little long-eared owl was attacked and feeling quite poorly, and it landed on a fishing boat 100 miles out to sea. And luckily, this is courtesy of the BBC, of course, and luckily one of the chaps on board obviously knew what he was doing with birds, and they rescued it and looked after it and put it in a box. And then it kind of hung around for a little while, I think. And I just think some of these photographs are absolutely incredible. I mean, this is a wild bird. This isn't a trained bird. This is a wild bird that's obviously so thankful to these guys and so relaxed with them.
I mean, brilliant picture there.
Just sat and watch telly, or well, what's the radar? But yeah, absolutely incredible.
And I was just going to say, it said in the article there that they fed it chopped steak.
Well, no wonder it hung around.
And apparently Claire stopped feeding it ham, apparently.
She stopped feeding it ham.
Yeah, so she was feeding it ham. She stopped feeding it and went away. And it obviously, she said it got the hump and cleared off. So
you shouldn't have said that, because I keep on telling Tina to stop feeding pork pies and sausage meat to the crows. And now she knows if she does, they're going to disappear. So that's not going to happen, is it? They're going to carry on being fed pork pies and sausage meat. Yeah.
Well, so no, thanks, Claire, for sending that stuff in. That's really, really interesting. Really,
yeah, fabulous. You've got another one, haven't you, Steve?
There's another one. You're right, I forgot. You can see how well prepared I am. So back in October, we share the screen. So I don't know if anyone's seen this. This was featured on Bird Guides this week. But there's a project going on where at certain migration spots in Europe, they've put up these like antennae towers. And what they're doing, they're geotagging certain birds, things like yellow-browed warbler, goldcrest. And when they get within quite close proximity to these towers, the signal pings a signal.
Okay.
So this goldcrest was ringed in Vlieland, or say off the Dutch coast, on the 20th of October, and it turned up the next morning between 5:30 and 5:34. It says there at Spurn Point. So they worked it out, and it was travelling at a speed of 44 kilometres an hour. So this is a bird that weighs 5 grams. So
it's like a 20p piece, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly, 20p piece. And this new technology now it's revolutionising sort of bird migration and stuff like that. It's amazing.
That's absolutely. Do you know roughly how far that distance is? Any ideas? A few hundred miles, isn't it? Oh
yeah, it's certainly not far. I don't think it says on there. It says, well, there's 20 kilometres. Yeah, that's got to be
unbelievable.
300 kilometres or something like that.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
So yeah,
that's incredible. 44 kilometres an hour as well. Yeah, I mean, how can a goldcrest travel that quickly? It's just
Yeah, I mean,
was it riding a woodcock?
Well, maybe it was. Maybe it was. And we'll be talking about this a bit later on with Paul. So about wind directions and all that.
I've got one more as well, and then we'll move on. So this one, there was a bar-tailed godwit, funny enough, a little while ago that set a record, didn't it?
Yep.
But for the longest continuous flight, I think it was, and it's been smashed by I think a different bird. So a young bar-tailed godwit, I very much doubt whether it's this one. I presume this is just a generic bar-tailed godwit picture, but there you go. It travelled an astonishing 13,560 kilometres in just over 11 days without stopping. Now that is absolutely exceptional. It departed Alaska on the 13th of October and touched down in Anson's Bay in northeast Tasmania on the 24th of October. That is just unbelievable. So 13,500 kilometres in 11 days. If someone can work out the average speed for that, I'm not going to grab my calculator now, but that is absolutely exceptional, isn't it? And again, phenomenal. These birds, I mean, if it's doing that, that's 11 days without sleeping, without food, without drinking, and kind of doing this all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a young bird.
Yeah.
It's not even like experienced in the world of, it's just gone.
I think if I can walk a mile to Tesco's, I think I'm doing quite well. So that's just amazing, isn't it?
It is. And John Peacock's just messaged in. He said, did you hear about the black-naped pheasant pigeon that has been discovered in Papua New Guinea after 140 years?
Wow.
That's been in the news the last couple of days, I think.
Didn't see that. No, I missed that one.
Yeah, this bird's hasn't been seen in the wild for 140 years, and it's been found in some remote forest in Papua New Guinea.
It's not the same one, is it? Quite old by now.
It could be a bit tough.
Yeah. That's amazing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Right. So we've been doing some stuff. The society's been doing some things over the last month or so, hasn't it? We had an indoor talk, didn't we?
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Beginning of the month.
And
Forbes on Skomer Island and the puffins and the Manx shearwaters, and it was absolutely fascinating. So for anyone that's not been to one of the indoor talks, we've got a few more coming up, and they're all on our website. They're held in Chelmsford, and it's a really good way of meeting some of the other members, and you get a cup of tea and a biscuit during the interval, and you get to you get to watch a really interesting talk, fantastic pictures, ask questions at the end. It's really, really good. And you've been to Scoma, haven't you? I haven't, but you have.
I've been to Scoma several times over the years, and it's a fantastic place. And Anne described it. There's some great pictures showing the landscape there, and just explaining a little bit about Scoma and why it's so important for seabirds. And she was a retired biology teacher, wasn't she, Matt? So she was a really good speaker, and I say she had some great photos. And it makes me want to go back to Scoma now.
Yeah, well, I think I need to go to Scoma, to be fair. Seeing the Manx shearwaters like that would be great, and to get that close to puffins as well would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
And then we had a field trip as well, didn't we?
Yeah, so last Sunday just gone, we headed up to Norfolk, to Titchwell RSPB Reserve, and we had a chock-a-block coach. The coach was pretty much full, and then a few people joined us up at Titchwell. But it was pretty good. We had, luckily, the weather was good. We drove up through torrential rain, but time we got to Titchwell, it was blue skies, sunshine, and we had a really good day. Saw lots of good birds. And that's reminding me, Matt, I never sorted my photos out from Sunday.
That's fine. Well, we kind of blocked the path a little bit at one point, didn't we? Because who spotted it? Did you spot it, or did somebody else spot the jacksnipe?
No, it was Steve Wilkinson found the jacksnipe. Yeah.
And it was quite close, really, for a jacksnipe, and it was kind of in and out of the reeds, and it was in this one little secluded area, and trying to get everyone on it when you've got sort of 50 or 60 people on the path at Titchwell. It was quite a challenge, but it was good fun. I think most people saw it, and the bittern was fantastic, and the golden plover, they were lovely, and we had Ida going past at sea, didn't we? And all sorts of other things. So really good trip. We had
yellow-legged gull, marsh harrier, merlin. We had, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
and we bumped into Society President Simon Wood.
Yes,
who was staying up there for the weekend. So it was nice to bump into him.
Yeah, he'd had shorted owl that morning, I think, hadn't he?
He had shorted owl and
spoonbill.
Spoonbill, that's the one. Yeah.
So again, brilliant place, Titchwell. I love it when I go up there, because it's got a bit of everything, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Really, really good. And we've got more trips coming up. So next month's trip is on the 18th of December. It's to Fisher's Green in the Lee Valley. It's a self-drive trip.
Yep.
And basically just come along. I think it's meet there at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Again, details are on the website. If you go to ebws.org.uk, so it's ebws.org.uk, go to the events tab, and it's all under there. And please just turn up to that field trip. And the coach trips are filling up, aren't they?
They're not filling up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on. It's been crazy. So there are limited places on all of the coach trips now. So Matt has been updating the website with places. So if you
let me see if I can quickly ping that onto the screen. Hold on one second, and seamlessly there we go. So the field trips tab, it's under events. You hover over events, click on field trips, tells you how to book and what happens basically. And then this is the schedule. So the next one, 18th of December, Fisher's Green. We've got 10 coach seats left only on the January trip to Lackford Lakes and Linford Arboretum. Rutland, there's 17 seats left. Walthamstow Wetlands in March is self-drive. Fingering Hoe is self-drive in April. And then we've got Neck, which is fully booked in May.
Yeah, crazy.
And then June, which is the last one of the season, and there's 14 seats left on that. So bear in mind, it's like a 51 seat coach, isn't it?
Yes.
These ones are already getting full. So if you do want to come, please come. You'd be more than welcome. It'd be great to see you. But please contact Jerry. All the details are at the top here, and he will be able to take your name and book you a seat on the coach.
Yeah. And then, if you've not been before, I mean, Matt and I both lead the trip, so along with Jerry. But they're a great day out, and again, it's a really good social thing as well. There's a nice bit of banter. We do a bird list at the end of the day on the coach, and and it's nice and comfy. You can, especially if it's a couple of hour drive away, you can sit back and relax after the day's birding. So well recommended. So hopefully we'll see lots of you on our coach trips and evening talks.
But that wasn't the only field event we had this month, was it?
No, so we were up bright and early this morning. So yeah, so we met at 7:30 this morning at Frinton-on-Sea.
Well, technically, we actually met a bit earlier, and of course, we had a stop on the way, didn't we? So the big news of the day is that McDonald's have a new breakfast burger out, don't they?
They do. They do.
Which is quite fantastic. But there you go. Let's move on.
Yes.
And then we got to Frinton at 7:30, and rather fabulously, about 15 of us were there, weren't we?
It was good. Look at that lovely wave there from.
I know. Paul on the end there waving, Martin. Fantastic.
So yeah, that was before the rain.
Yep.
But yeah, there was let's say about 15 of us this morning, and we were joined. Paul Brayshaw. So Paul just lives up the road, literally just up the road, and so yeah, so it was a pop-up event. So you just came along, and we spent the morning. We spent till about 1 o'clock, didn't we? Sea watching. Obviously, we had a few hours rain in the middle of that, which wasn't so.
Hey, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
There's me there. I look forward to tears.
That was about probably mid to late morning. I think I took that little tiny clip, and a few people had already had to go, but there was a few diehardy souls that stayed till the end. So yeah, thank you to everyone for coming. And yeah, we saw gannets, didn't we, and Scota, and
yeah, we had a few kittiwakes, little gull, some red-throated divers. Do we have any brink geese?
Yeah, we had. There was 3, I think. 2 flew north.
Very
and then I one more go through afterwards. Yeah, so only about 3.
It was a good morning, good social thing. You know, we were chatting and yeah, just a nice day up. So, and hopefully we're going to arrange some more, aren't we, Matt, in the new year?
Yeah, I think the plan is in Jan or Feb. We'll do. I'm sure we'll do another one at Frinton, and we might look at doing something sort of further south in the county as well, just to cover people, because we've done 2 in Frinton now. And there may be people sort of middle and south of the county that want to go to one without travelling all the way to the northeast. So might do something down there. But the thing is with Frinton, it's such a good place to do this from. You park next to where we stand, and there's a shelter there as well, isn't there?
Absolutely.
And there's facility. Yeah, really good.
It's very good if the weather's not so clever.
And Paul said that next time, if it rains like that, he's going to nip back to his house and come back with a big cake for everyone. That's what he told me. So.
Oh, okay. I'm free tomorrow.
I might be making that last bit up, but right. So feedback. Have we got any feedback, Steve?
Well, we've got lots of good evenings from loads of people tonight. Loads of people. So
I noticed John Clark. Hello from sunny Spain.
I've not seen that. Oh, good evening, John. Okay, he's past his bedtime.
Hello.
Fantastic. I hope you're birding there in Spain, John, not lounging around a nice beach.
Oh, no, that's brilliant. No, once again, thanks to everyone tuning in, and hello to everyone that's saying hello to us. There's too many to say hello to you all individually, but one great big huge hello to everyone.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for watching.
Right, so where have we been and what have we seen? Where have you been, Steve?
Well, I've not been in UK much, to be honest.
Really? Where have you been?
Well, if I said Stetson hats and yeah, I've been to Manningtree. No, but no, I've just come back from Texas. Annette and myself and a couple of friends, we've just spent 11 days birding in Texas. So we got back last Friday. Had a fabulous time. My first ever time to the States. So amazing birding. Weather was a bit changeable from like 34 degrees to 6 degrees. So one day it was scorching, and then next day was so cold. It was unbelievable, you know. So yeah, I've got a few pictures that I'll share just to whip through quickly.
Fabulous.
But so this is green jay. I hope you can see this.
Yes.
So this is one of the sort of specialities of South North America, sort of Texas.
Look at those colours. That's amazing.
Yeah, these are pretty cool. These are.
I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, my mum and dad used to get me those like colour by number type things.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that's the colours I used to use to colour in birds.
Ah, do you know what, Matt? There were two. There were because before we went, we were just all chatting together, discussing what birds we'd like to see the most, what target birds we had, and I wanted to see two birds. I wanted to see a cardinal and a blue jay because I've got a bird book downstairs. But when I was about 8 or 9, I used to draw, copy the birds onto a sketch pad and colour them in and stuff.
Okay.
They were the two birds that I remember vividly that I did. So, so we managed to see those both, which were really good.
That is that about the same size as RJ, or bigger or smaller, or
it's magpie size?
Magpie. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, lovely bird.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Got this burrowing owl.
Yep.
It's
nice. Quite like our little owl, isn't it? Is it?
It is much longer leg though, because it uses for burrowing. So again, most of the birds, a lot of new birds, but some of the birds I had seen before in the UK. So burrowing owl. This is a crested caracara. It's a bit like a scavenger, often found alongside the roads.
Lovely picture.
Cracking bird. This is a eastern screech owl. It's got a problem with its ear tuft there, I think.
He doesn't look like he's very happy with you for taking his picture, to be fair.
No, I don't think he is either. This is quite a well watched bird, so everyone sees this.
That's fantastic.
This is least grebe, so a little bit smaller than a little grebe, but lovely bright orange eye. Pretty cool. This is Parak, so this is like nightjar.
Nightjar,
So we managed. It took us ages to find one of these. In fact, I couldn't find it, and David, who was with us, he found it. So well done to him. Yeah,
can you imagine trying to find that in leaf litter? That would be just
It was in leaf litter. This is a scissor-tailed flycatcher.
Goodness gracious! Look at that tail.
Yeah, it's got like a big long scissor tail, which is pretty cool. Another one, vermilion flycatcher.
Wow.
So a lot of the birds are very colourful. So vermilion flycatcher. This is a very rare falcon. This is Aplomado falcon. This is one of the rarest birds of prey in North America.
Well done.
Not the most amazing. It's on a what's it called? Phone mast. But
what was it called again?
Plumado falcon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of kestrel, a bit bigger than a kestrel.
So
very nice bird.
Beautiful.
This is a black skimmer.
Yep.
So it's got, you can see on the picture there, it's got its lower mandible is longer than its upper mandible, and it flies with its beak open and scoops up the fish.
Their beaks are really, really thin, aren't they, from the front?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah, we saw lots of those. Managed to get a few flight shots of those. This were the rarest birds we saw. So these are, I've got to get these right. This is groove-billed Annie and smooth-billed Annie.
Okay.
So groove-billed, which is on the left, you can just about see these grooves in the bill. So this is a regular winter visitor to sort of southern Texas. But this smooth-billed Annie is the first ever record for Texas.
Wow! Did you find it, or did?
No, it'd been found 2 days before we went there.
Oh goodness!
And like in the UK, if there's a twitch, there's like thousands of people. There were like just a steady stream of 10s and 20s and stuff. But these two birds were like just hanging around together, and they were preening each other. And it was
lovely!
Pretty cool to watch. So that was probably the rarest bird.
They kind of look like mini dinosaurs, don't they? They're really. You can see where that link is, because people don't, think that birds came from the dinosaurs, didn't they? Or there's certainly a strong link there.
Yeah. They're a very odd looking thing, and they're quite big. They're quite a big bird.
Okay.
So that was pretty good. Roseate spoonbill. Beautiful. Which is nice. They're quite common in the wetlands.
Yep.
This is tri-coloured heron. This was about 2 feet away. The birds are completely oblivious to humans.
Lovely picture, lovely shot.
Osprey.
I know what that one is. Yeah.
Yeah, these are 10 a penny. Absolutely 10 a penny. This was in a car park.
Oh my goodness!
I think it's on a solar panel. I think that is on. You recognise this one?
I know what that one is as well.
Yep, you've seen one of these.
Yeah, I have seen one of them down in Eastbourne. I think it was earlier this year. Yeah.
So this is American robin, and then good old ruddy duck. So you don't see many of these at home now, but there's quite a lot of these in Texas on all the wetlands. So we've got ruddy duck. This is a spotted towhee.
Okay.
Sort of a bit bigger than a dunnock, but it's quite a smart little bird. And then we finish up with
Hey,
roadrunner.
meet
Beep,
me.
beep. And we saw coyote as well.
You're joking, really?
No, not at the same time.
Oh, okay.
But
I'll tell you what, that would be amazing if that had run off and a coyote had been chasing it. That would have been so funny.
You know what? It's amazing. Yeah. So this was an ex most wanted bird, and then we finish up. This is a Pyrrholoxia. It's called.
Lovely.
It's like a cardinal. It's like a desert version of the cardinal.
Yep.
So that's me. So hopefully by the time we come back to the new year, I might have some British pictures to show.
Okay. Well,
what have you been up to?
You know what? After that, I can't be bothered. Really, mine are going to be a bit rubbish.
No, they won't. Nothing.
I've got a mallard and a sparrow.
There's a nice mallard. That is.
Hooray! Right. Okay. Yeah. So I had mallard at at Ardley, and obviously there's a male mandarin there. And what you can't see is literally tucked right behind him is the female.
Oh, okay. It's nice.
And they were both actually there this evening. I went out again this afternoon briefly, and the pair of them were just swimming around north of Wick Lane. So that was quite nice. Also at Ardley, I had a lovely flock of, I think it was around about 25 siskin the other day, which was really nice. So they're all flying around and calling, and they've got that bouncy sort of flight as they all group together and they all land and all take off at the same time. So nice to see them. And when I did the Webb's count at Ardley, this golden eye was there. So it's only the second golden eye that I've had at Ardley, and it was still there this afternoon. So yeah, nice golden eye, female bird, that one. So really, really nice. Are we still going, do you think?
We've got no. Although Mike O'Hanlon said, did you put another shilling in the meter? So
yeah. Yeah, I did. I put 2 shillings in, actually. We should be okay till about 8:30, hopefully. Golden eye, this is at Abberton. So the golden eye at Abberton are a little bit closer than they are at Ardley, as people know. And I love golden eye. They're obviously beautiful golden eye. The plumage, that subtle sort of greeny metallic plumage on the head. Wasn't a particularly sunny day when I took this, but even so, you can still see it coming through. And also at Abberton, 3 green sandpipers just on the bar off of Laird Brecon Causeway. I thought they made a nice image, seeing 3 together.
Lovely. And
obviously the gooseanders are back, so managed to snap a gooseander catching a fish, or having just caught a fish. It's a female bird, or is it a young male? Actually, I'm not sure. Can't see. I've got a camera in the way. Might be a young male, I think. I'm not sure. And then talking of males, there was a male gooseander showing off, and none of the females were bothering to watch him. So he's doing his best pose there, and they're all looking the other way, which was quite funny. Right? Yeah, about right. Yeah, that sounds like me about 30 years ago, I think. And again, another gooseander just coming into land. This was on a really misty day. I turned up there one morning, and it was very, very misty and foggy, and just managed to snap a few birds coming in through the mist.
Nice, I like that.
Great Northern Diver. So we're going to come to sightings later on, but there's been a couple of Great Northern Divers at Abberton, and I went to the church viewpoint one morning, left the camera in the car, walked all the way down to the church viewpoint, and the closest bird to me was a Great Northern Diver. So I thought, right, I'm going to go back to the car. So I went all the way back to the car, got the camera, went all the way back to the viewpoint, and by this point, the Great Northern Diver was right over the other side. So that's the best shot I got, but there you go. It's a record shot, isn't it? They
do cover a huge area at Abberton, don't they?
And the thing, they go down, and you don't see it again for another 15 minutes because it pops up, down, and it moves such a long way underwater. Slavonian grebes, there's been a slav there virtually all month, and it's been showing quite nicely off of the main Laird de la Haye Causeway. And this is a really lovely marked bird, real distinctive black and white face with the black cap. Really, really nice. And I love that bright red eye as well. They're always stunning.
Beautiful.
Long-tailed duck, in with a group of tufties. Always looks nice, and always good to see a long-tailed duck. This is a female bird with the sort of grey coloured bill. And this picture, I actually popped this onto Twitter. I moved it ever so slightly off centre and popped it on Twitter, and loads of people were trying to guess which bird is the odd one out. Lots of people said pochard, but there are other pochard on the screen. But it's this bird just here. So this is a scoter. A scaup. Sorry, a scaup.
I was going to say, hey.
Yes, I know what I'm talking about. So even with it asleep, you can see the white base around the bill, and you can see the sort of pale cheek as well. And I think this is a young bird. I think it's the first winter bird.
It's nice.
And a slightly better view of it there. It did wake up briefly.
Yeah, that's lovely, that is.
Yeah. And then finally, webs count. I had a webs count at Catawade as well as Ardley. And on the way through to starting the webs count, there were 4 cormorant just posing on the fence there. So I thought that made a nice picture.
I like that.
All striking a slightly different pose. So I thought that was quite good.
I like that. It's really nice.
Obviously, the third one across has actually got a head. I'd just like to point out it wasn't a headless cormorant.
Huh.
And I was really pleased to see my first great white egret on the star. So looked up the river from the White Bridge, and there was a couple of little egrets and a bigger egret with a yellow bill. So that was quite nice to see. And it then did a fly past, which was pretty good.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So flew past, and it landed virtually opposite me, almost exactly opposite me. And I quite liked it because when it landed, you can see all those feathers just kind of air brakes. You know,
yeah, that's cracking. That is
really like that.
They're such a numerous bird now, aren't they? I mean, they're doing so well.
Yeah, they're doing really, really well. I think they're going to be all over the place within a couple of years. Same as cattle egret, probably.
Yeah.
And then there was a barnacle goose that flew past while I was doing webs, so I managed to snap a picture of that. Always nice to see him fly. I just like the plumage on the wing. It's really pretty.
That barring is superb, isn't it?
And then a stone chat, a pair of stone chat on the way round. And finally finished off with a pair of ravens. So as I've finished the webs count, I'm allowed to cross the RSPB part to do the webs count. And coming past the red barn on the way back, there was 2 large crows in a field, and I thought they look a bit like ravens, and they flew off and called and had the old wedge-shaped tail, and they went and landed on one of the pylons near the train station. And then on the way back to the car, I had a last quick scan, as you do.
Oh,
there was a barn owl.
Nice.
Hunting there. It was obviously, this is quite dark by this point, but still managed to get a little snap of it. Beautiful bird. Love barn owls.
That's cracking, mate. Well done.
That's kind of the stuff I've been seeing, really. So yeah,
busy month then for. It's nice that there's winter birds arriving for the on the estuaries and stuff now, isn't it? Because it's been very mild, and it's just nice to see that birds are finally getting here.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to do our website things in a minute, aren't we? But have we got any feedback other than me putting a shilling in the meter?
Oh, so let's have a look. There's a lot of feedback tonight. Yeah, Richard Chu asked how many live ticks I had. To be fair, Richard, I don't know. We saw 184 species or something like that in 11 days. Probably 100 new birds, maybe a bit less.
Good.
But
I think Richard earlier also mentioned that we're going to do a pop-up at Canvey Island, so we're not sure yet. Might be Canby, might be Gunners Park, somewhere like that. We need to think about parking and being able to get people all in the same place and so everyone can see what's going on. But somewhere like that.
So watch this space. And then Frankie Robertson's watching tonight. He's been out bird watching Fisher's Green, Amwell, Rymeads, Gunners Park. We've been all over the place.
Lovely.
And he managed to photograph a lifer, a hoopus one at Rymeads.
Excellent. Well done.
So Rymeads, if anyone doesn't know, is just outside Essex in Hertfordshire. Really nice reserve. So well worth a visit if you're up that sort of neck of the woods. So I think that's all I can see at the moment. But if you've got any questions or bits and bobs, please just put it in the chat tonight. That'd be great.
And hopefully we won't drop out again. But if we do, we looks like we can rejoin. So bear with us. If it happens again, I apologise, but hopefully it won't. Fingers crossed. We were going to look at a couple of websites, weren't we? What's your website, Steve?
Website of the month, or what we called it? Webwatch or something?
Webwatch. Not Winter Watch, Webwatch. So the idea of this, anyone that wasn't watching last month, we kind of featured a website called Euro Bird Portal, which tracks the movement of lots and lots of different species. You can see where they are at the moment, and you can compare that to last year. And you can also look at rainfall and all sorts of data as well. So quite an interesting website. And we thought we'd introduce this as a kind of regular feature. And so each month we're going to each choose a website and briefly show it so that you guys out there can have a look if you've not seen the website before and have an explore.
Absolutely.
And the websites are all to do with birds, of course, no football or computer games or anything like that. So.
Sure. Sorry, Matt.
That's right. Have you got your one?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just about to share screen. I also just remembered, I'm just going to, oh, crikey, I've got to go to Zoom. Just I forgot to mention on the earlier on that if anyone is around, there's an event happening on, I don't know when it's happening, Saturday, December the 3rd. So if you're under 25, there's a BTO youth ringing demonstration at Two Tree Island. So the information is on the BTO community events page. I'll leave it on the screen just for a few minutes so you can just see. But it's being run by Alice Marlowe. So Alice and Matt Lonsdale led a walk during the Big County Birdwatch for junior members. So Alice is out and again down at Two Tree Island. And I know one of our members, David Wilkinson, who's a bird ringer down at Two Tree, he's involved as well. So this looks like, so if you're under 25, this looks like a cracking event to visit. It's from 8 until 10 on December the 3rd on Saturday. And all the information is here on the website. So yeah, that's that brilliant. First. And then I'll just quickly go back to my website.
I kind of wish I was under 25 again, but I'm a long way past that. I don't think shaving the beard I'd get away with that, would I? So
no, I don't think so. But no, it's a great event. I mean, I'd love to go to that as well. So here is my hopefully you can see this.
Yeah, Trek Tellen.
So this is a website that it's all migration based. So there's loads of different places. They're all around the world. So they're not just UK based. But there's certain sort of watch points. So we've got places like Spurn, Dungeness, Flamborough. There's places in the US, Cape May. There's South Carolina, Germany, Canada. And every day they put their migration sightings on. So basically you can find out. So if I look on Cape May for today, and here's all their sightings. So we'll be covering sort of migration a little bit later on. But yeah, so you can find out what's been seen each day, which way it's flying, and then also is their sea watch totals for the year. I mean, they've had 163,000 birds. Sorry, that's the hits on the website, not the birds, is it?
I was going to say there are 236 million. Yeah, I think that's hits. But you've got record count. There's record counts on the right hand side of the screen. It looks like on one of the links.
Yeah, okay. So so there's lots of I can click on that.
Yep.
So there you go. It tells you the record counts for each species.
Gotcha.
And you can search. It's just a good way, just finding out what else is migrating, around the world, or especially you can check out the British sightings. So
and I guess I was going to say, sorry, I guess what you can do, you can look at the continent and work out what might be coming this way at certain times and so on. We're going to go into that a bit more detail with Paul, aren't we? But
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I can click on sharing them today. So they talk about the weather, and what birds they've had today. So so that you can look and see maybe if you were up at Flamborough and stuff. There's a northerly wind. You could see what's been seen today, and it might well filter down for tomorrow. But yeah, it's a great website. So that's Trektellen, TREKTELLEN.org.
Lovely.
Yeah, so that's
that's one to look at and play with. And my one is one called Featherbase.
Oh yes.
Featherbase. And the idea with this is it's got pictures of all of the feathers of many, many, many different species. So 1,821 species so far. So for example, I don't know, if we searched for, let's go woodcock, and you've got 3 different species of woodcock by the looks of it. If I click on Eurasian woodcock, got a picture of the bird, then you've got a picture of all the feathers.
Wow.
You can make the pictures bigger to kind of look at them in more detail, or you can hover over here and you can click on measure feathers, and then you can simply click from one point to another on the feather, and it tells you how big the feather is. So if you found a feather, obviously you'd need to know roughly what you think it might be, But the idea is that you can then type in the species that you think it is. Hopefully it'll be on the site. They're adding to it all the time, I think.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you can measure your feather, compare it to what's on here, and it'll give you a really good idea of what you found. But I think it's fantastic. I looked at Goldcrest. It's just one of those little websites that you could spend, you could have a cup of coffee, you could just type in a load of random birds and just look at Goldcrest feathers. I know.
You've even got the crown feathers.
I know. Where are they? Hang on a minute. Let's go to them. I just need to move the screen across a bit. Here we go. Look at that. They're beautiful.
Oh, my God.
If you measure a crown feather, how big do you reckon a Goldcrest crown feather is?
Oh, that's got to be, well, it's no more than a centimetre, I would say.
9 millimeters, maybe 10 millimeters with the end bit. Yeah.
Cool. That wasn't a bad guess, was it?
Very good. Well done.
Oh, do you know, that's an amazing website, Matt.
It's a really cool little website. And it is actually, it's quite useful as well. Like I said, if you're out and about, we all find feathers occasionally, and you think you might know what it is. I normally just think pheasant or chicken. Chicken, yeah. But hopefully, if you've got an idea, you can type it in, and the bird might be there.
No, that's that.
So there you go. That's feather base. So you've got Tretellin and feather base. That gives everyone something to do during the long winter nights until the next show. Viewer content. We're going to have a quick look at viewer content if I can load it up. So
we're doing all right for time. It's nearly 20 past 8, so we're almost on schedule.
Really good. So I haven't checked the emails for tonight yet. So if anyone sent anything in while we've been talking, apologies. I will have a quick look later on and see if we can fit it in. So first of all, Jan Lewis. Hello, Jan, if you're watching. He sent in 3 pictures. You might recognise this first one, Steve.
I do recognise that one, yeah. So Jan came out with me on one of my guided walks on Monday down to Heybridge, and a bit like today, the weather was atrocious. We had a nice walk in the morning, nice cup of tea and a bit of cake, and then we got very wet. But Jan did amazingly to find this purple sandpiper, which for Heybridge is a good local bird, and he managed to get a decent, record shot considering it was peeing of rain at the time. So yeah, excellent shot that was.
Good. And then also, I think on the same walk, he found a ringed lesser blackback gold, didn't he? Yes.
So for those who watched the show, we featured Jan's ringing spreadsheet a few months back, and how if he found a bird that was colour ringed, he would take a photograph of it if he could, and then entered it into his spreadsheet. And then when he got the details back from the ringing group or ringer, then he would enter that into the spreadsheet as well. So yeah, Jan found this down at Mill Beach on Heybridge. I don't think he's heard back yet from the ringers, but I assume it's a Thames or Southern colour ringing group bird.
It looks like it from the ring, doesn't it? But it'll be interesting if you can get some history back. Maybe for next month's show, we can reveal where this bird has been. Has it been out in Madrid with Claire's herring gull? Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
And he also sent in a picture of a short-eared owl that he took at Wallasey. He had a trip to Wallasey this month, and there's short-eared owls back at Wallasey, so that's good.
It's good.
What else have we got? Let me just close this one down because I'm a little bit aware of how many windows I've got open, so I don't want to.
Don't close anything that you shouldn't.
Yeah, don't want to chonk up Zoom again. Right, here we go. And these pictures were sent in by Richard Chu. So got a little bit of info here, hopefully. So Richard, this is on his local patch, I think, in around Langdon. And it's just some pictures. We've got a picture of a robin to start with. And he's put, in his experience, robins are nearly always the first species to resume singing after the breeding season. And there are plenty around now doing exactly that. And I think he's right. They do start singing really, really, almost straight away. As soon as breeding season is over, they're all singing again, aren't they?
Yeah, just establishing their winter territories, and that's a nice shot. That is, I like that.
Yeah, lovely. Next up, we've got a jay. I love jays, and it's difficult to get a picture of a jay because they're really quite secretive, aren't they?
So I don't think I've got a decent photograph of a jay.
No, me neither, actually.
Not a Eurasian jay, anyway.
And he said, I don't know about you, but there seems to be a huge abundance of acorns this year, especially compared with last year. And my local jays have been particularly vocal and active, scoffing the autumn bounty. So I've heard quite a few jays locally, especially at Ardley, because they do like it there. But I must admit, I've not. Normally, you see them carrying acorns around, but I've not seen any of that this year. So maybe if there are a lot around, maybe they're scoffing them rather than caching them. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, yeah. If anyone's
And
seen anything like that, let us know.
yeah, and he also sent a rather lovely picture of a green woodpecker. And he says he regularly sees green woodpeckers in the cemetery where they can often be seen on the ground foraging for ants. So quite common in gardens, aren't they? If you've got a lawn,
Yep.
like a proper lawn, of course, then if you're lucky, you might get a green woodpecker looking for ants in your lawn. He said he also went to his patch yesterday. He produced common buzzard, sparrowhawk, and plenty of redwings. He didn't manage to get any photos of any of them, but he did get a couple of photos of foxes.
Oh, lovely.
Look at that. What a lovely pic.
Beauty that is.
And that one's lovely as well. Yeah.
I like that in the sunshine. Yeah, that glint in the eye.
Really nice. Gotta love a fox. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh,
he wasn't sure whether to send them in, but I said, yeah, please send them in, because it's not just birds, is it? We can look at anything here. So
yeah. Absolutely. No, we love anything, but yeah, they were really good shots, Richard. Yeah, fantastic, mate.
But it wouldn't be Birds of Essex without a mindful moment.
Oh.
And we're going to have, if everyone is been watching the last couple of months, we've been featuring mindful moments by John Ward, and he's kindly sent in another video for everyone to enjoy. So if I stop talking and just double click this, hopefully, can you see that? Just blank screen, got it? Should be black screen.
Yeah, black screen, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
That's all right. So I'm going to turn my camera off and mute my microphone, and this is 2 minutes 43 seconds of relaxation. So if you'd all like to adopt the correct pose, whatever it may be, and just meditate for the next couple of minutes with this. So back in 2 minutes and 43 seconds. Hello?
Press the right button.
I thought you'd gone to sleep.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I could watch that all evening. I mean, they're amazing. I mean, every month I think, well, I don't think John about to manage to do one, because obviously I understand how much work's involved in putting those together. And every month they're just amazing.
Oh yeah, so absolutely superb. You know, just a huge thank you to John for doing that. And you know, I have said to him, if he gets time, whenever he gets time to do one of those, we'll play it every single time, because they're just really, really lovely.
Absolutely.
Right. Any feedback?
I think we're all right. No, there's a little talk about Roy Meads, but no, I think we're all yeah. Okay. Oh, Annette said, love that video. Thank you, John. Yeah. Mike O'Hanlon said, lovely video. Well done, John. John Peacock, fantastic video. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, we can't thank you enough, John. Much appreciated.
Right. We're going to go for a quick break now. So what we're going to do with the break, I'm going to show all of the entries into the autumn photo competition. Yep. And for anyone that wants to go and get a drink or whatever, we will finish the show with them again. So if you want to sit and watch them, brilliant. And if you need to go and grab a drink, please go and grab a drink. And then at the end of the show, you'll have a chance to see them all again. So hopefully this will work. Once again, you should see a black screen again, Steve.
Yes, I am seeing a black screen.
Right, I'm going to stop my video. I'm going to mute.
What's it, a couple of minutes, Matt?
Yeah, 3 minutes. Okay.
No, back to you.
Hey.
No, that you know what? Great selection of videos there, photographs even. Yeah, really, really good. Thanks to everyone that sent sent entries in for this quarter of the photographic competition. There, it was quite a tough choice to judge our first sort of group. It wasn't there, Matt?
I really was. I mean, just to explain to anyone, because I noticed that Frankie put in the chat, I think he sent some pictures in, and they didn't make it through to the voting. So what happens is, just to clarify, we get anything from 50 to 75 pictures sent in normally, and there's 5 of us now, I think, that choose our top 10 pictures, and then I give them all points. And it's a bit like Formula One. You get like 13 points for first and 10 points for second, then 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Add it all up, and then the top 16 altogether, they all go into the draw for the kind of public vote. And I seed them as well, a bit like a World Cup draw. So our favourites are all separated, and so on and so forth. And then it's all down to you guys. So it's down to people that vote and on Twitter and Facebook. And what we do, we add the Twitter votes to the Facebook votes, and then we've had 2 or 3 people vote via email as well. So the result is a cumulative result, and it's slightly different to the result that's on Twitter. So if you're looking at the Twitter poll, that's not the final result. It's added to Facebook and added to emails as well. But if anyone wants to see all the voting, I've got records of everything, so I can obviously share it with anyone if there are any. What's it called? I can't remember what the word is now. If there's like a query or something, I don't know. There's a special word for it, isn't there? But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
So without further ado, that explains how it all works, and we kind of do it as fairly as possible. But it is just a bit of fun, but we really enjoy it. And the main thing is, huge thank you to everyone that sends in the photographs, and a big thank you to everyone that votes as well, because again, if you guys weren't doing that, we wouldn't be doing the photo competition. So we only do it because you allow us to do it. So yeah, that's good.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
much
thank
appreciated.
you.
Yeah, really much.
Shall we do the results?
Let's do it. Yep.
Woo! Right. So hopefully, hang on a minute. Can you see a picture?
Yay!
Goodness, right, okay. Let's go quickly before it goes wrong again. So in 4th place, and bear in mind this is out of 60 entries, so 4th place out of 60 was this rather fabulous photograph of starlings in the sunshine with their beautiful, colourful plumage. And this was taken by Steve Wilkinson. So congratulations, Steve. Well done.
That's a lovely shot, that is.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. In 3rd place, and I think this would look lovely on anyone's wall. You can imagine this in a frame with maybe a black border, and anyway. So this is sanderlings and dunlin all taking off in a massive flock of frenzied wings, and this was taken by Steve Cox.
Lovely.
So congratulations, Steve, 3rd place. In 2nd place, we have Little Grebe and Water Vole, and this was taken by Mike Davies. Mike Davies, sorry. I think this was taken at Fingering Hoe. And what a fantastic picture this is. I love this picture.
I have to say this was my personal favourite.
Probably shouldn't say it, but it was mine too. I just absolutely love this picture.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it's just so
What's
unusual.
the chances of getting that picture? You could never get that picture in a million efforts, could you? It's just one of those pictures that
No, well done, Mike. That was
lovely picture. So yeah, well done. Superb. And the winner in 1st place, spotted flycatcher and commendata, we think. And this was taken by Graham Oakes. So a huge congratulations to Graham Oakes. Well done.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done,
picture. I want to know, did it actually eat it?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know, because, if you're looking at that, you're thinking, that's going to be a bit of a mouthful. So what a brilliant picture. Thank you very much indeed. Again, thanks to everyone who took part. And Graham, I'll be in touch and we'll sort out getting a framed copy of your picture to you at some point, I hope in the next couple of weeks or so, before Christmas, definitely.
Fantastic.
So,
congratulations. Matt said, well done for everyone that entered, because it was a tough choice judging and the votes. And as we said at the beginning of the show, the votes were so tight. There were only a few votes between the top 4 places. So,
Right. So we're going to do sightings next, I think, aren't we?
Yep, we're going to whip through the sightings because obviously time is ticking on.
And Paul is coming in a minute. Yes.
Yes, so those who are waiting,
still there.
You've got to put up with us for another few more minutes yet. So
yeah.
I picked up a bit of paper to do the sightings, and it's the wrong bit of paper. So that's a bit rubbish, wasn't it?
Okay, go for it.
So yeah, so I'll cover the south of the county as usual. So we'll start off Rainham Marshes.
Yep.
Been pretty quiet at Rainham the last month or so. Cattle Egret and Water Pipit are probably the best birds from there. Where else are we going to go? We'll go north. We'll go around a little bit. Lee Valley. So Matt mentioned earlier that we've got our next field trip there. Bitters are showing amazingly well at Lee Valley at the moment. So if you want to come along to our next outdoor event, then hopefully you'll get some good views too. We'll drop down to Tilbury. So Tilbury's probably been the pick of the bunch in the south of Essex. It's had Lapland bunting today. And it's also had Dartford warbler, hen harrier. There was little auk at the weekend, which is a good bird that far up the Thames. Little gull, water pipit as well. So that's really good. Two Tree Island today has had long-tailed duck on the lagoon.
That's brilliant. So
it's a really, really good bird. Really good bird there. I mean, they had black-necked grebe, I think, there a few weeks back.
Okay.
So it's turning up a few good birds there.
Is that on the lagoon at the West End, isn't it?
I assume so, Matt.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Wow.
That's a really good bird for there. As Matt said earlier, Wallasey has had numerous short-eared owls, spoonbill, hen harrier, and there was a twite reported yesterday.
Yep.
So obviously twite are very difficult to identify, but Wallasey the last few years has been quite a good place for twite. So that's really good. Hanningfield has had a couple of Buick swans. Canvey Island had velvet scoter. It's been quite quiet on the seabird front, but it had velvet scoter this month. And then from Danbury, mid-November on the 11th, Richard Stanley had 250 fieldfare. I mean, I know I've not been about, but that's a really good number of fieldfare that he had flying over. And I think that's pretty much me done, actually. Bit quiet in the south of the county this month.
Okay, right. So up north, generally we've had short-eared owls, red-breasted mergansers, gooseanders, eiders flying past at sea. Lots of skewers, lots of divers, great northern divers, black-throated divers, and red-throated divers. We've had goldeneye and we've had pintails. So all of the winter wildfowl and seabirds are all starting to come in and fly past. Abberton, it's kind of been, there's good birds there, but there's nothing new. Really, this stuff's been around all month. So long-tailed duck, as we saw earlier on with my pick, two great northern divers, the slav I think is still there, was a couple of days ago. Two little stints on and off through the month. Short-eared owl, there's been a short-eared owl there for a few days around the visitor centre, so some really nice views of that. And Daryl Rhymes had 5 Buick swans the other day, so I think it started off with a couple and then went to 3 and now it's up at 5, so hopefully they're going to be staying through the winter. Generally, other good birds throughout the month. On the 1st of the month at Frinton, Paul Brayshaw had a Leach's petrel fly through. Also on the 1st at the Naze, Brian Combs had a Palace's warbler. On the 2nd at Frinton, there was a hooper swan fly past. That was again Paul. So we had like a full collection of swans this month, which is good. And then on the 10th at Rabness, pale-bellied Brent goose, Ed Keeble, and there's also one at the Naze. Brian Combs had that on the 14th. Also at the Naze, dusky warbler, and that was on the 20th. That was Daryl Style. I'm very quickly, hold on one second, because I might have pictures actually. Here we go. Yeah. Sorry, I've got a note on here, and I think the pictures are in the wrong order. Here we go. Right. So hopefully, as long as it doesn't crash, can you see that?
Yeah, that's good.
That's pale belly Brent. That was Brian Combs' picture of the pale bellies at the Naze. So at the Naze on the 20th, Daryl Style had dusky warbler. Then 20th and the 21st at Frinton, Paul had a little auk flying through. And then on the 20th of November at Holland Haven, there was a razorbill on the rocks, which there's a lovely picture courtesy of Mick Rodwell. Nice. It's unusual. I mean, they're quite an unusual bird in Essex anyway, and to see one actually kind of out of the water, quite unusual, isn't it? And there's been purple sandpipers back at Holland Haven. Holland Haven is famous for purple sandpipers, and this is a nice picture that Brian Combs took of one of the purple sandpipers doing something or other. I don't know what it's doing, but I don't know if it's preening or looking for food. I'm not sure, but lovely picture there.
looking at its reflection in the water.
Yeah, it's admiring itself, I think. Yeah. So just some other very quick pictures I grabbed off the website. Simon Patient took this cracking close range picture of a spotted redshank, and that was at Abberton, I think, off the main causeway.
Yeah.
You quite often get redshank along the edge of the main causeway, but I've never seen a spot red there. So that's a really good picture. Water rail. What a lovely picture of water rail. This was taken on my webs patch at the Stour, going on the south bank, and this was taken by David Smith.
Nice.
He said they heard a water rail squeal, and then out it popped. So what a great picture that is. And finally, for pictures, Mike O'Hanlon, and this is one of the firecrests that's been at Holland Haven on the approach road for the last few weeks. And still a bird I haven't got a picture of, to be fair, not a good one. That's lovely, absolutely beautiful picture. But bird of the month, we kind of agreed earlier, didn't we, that bird of the month this month, it's not going to be the rarest bird in the world. Not even going to be the rarest bird in Essex, to be fair. But both of us just thought this was a cracking find. And down at the Hive Lagoons in Colchester, which is a site, if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of almost slap bang in the middle of Colchester. Yeah. And it's regularly watched by Alf Mullins and Phil Carter. And Phil found a Dartford warbler, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Both him and Alf put in hours there, and to be fair, they slog away and they see a few bits and bobs, but they persevere. And yeah, Phil did really well to find this Dartford warbler. Yeah, cracking find, Phil. So yeah, that goes for our bird of the month.
Bird of the month. But that was on the 13th. Also on the 13th, Paul Brayshaw had a velvet scoter fly past at Frinton and a redneck grebe fly past at Frinton. In addition to those two wonderful birds, he had the following: 13,587 Brent geese, 1,107 widgeon, 136 shelduck, 798 pintail, 137 knot, 334 cormorants, 57 red-breasted merganser, 299 teal, 24 shoveler, 828 scoter, and finally 2,037 pintail.
Wow.
So I think I should read the football scores for the BBC, but B, how on earth did Paul find all those birds, and how on earth did he count all of those birds? So shall we find out?
Let's bring in Paul, because to be fair, everyone's been waiting for him all evening.
I know.
They haven't been waiting for us. I mean,
if he's still watching and gone fast asleep watching us, that would be hilarious. Hey,
no, he's awake.
He's awake. Excellent.
He's awake, and now he's got to just unmute himself.
He's on mute.
Oh.
There we go. Hang on.
There we go. Unmuted and turned off the phone that was playing on the other screen.
Excellent. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Good. Thank you very much. Hat hair still like you two from this morning, but dried out.
You've dried out. Well done. Has your optics dried out yet, or?
Oh, plenty of time for that until the morning.
Yeah. So, how on earth do you see all these birds? Why do you watch the sea? How did you start watching the sea, and how do you count them all? Tell us something about yourself.
Well, yeah. So we'll get to that, I think, Matt. But first, you have to listen to a little bit more of some detail. So what I'm going to do is just give you a little bit of a talk through of a bit of introduction to me, when to watch, what you might see, where to watch, and give you everyone on the call a chance to ask any questions around particular species and time of year, what they might want to see, when's the best time to look for that, and we can explore that towards the end. But if I can get my screen share working without chucking off everyone in the meantime.
So while you're doing that, Paul, anyone watching, if you want to know any information, any data about any specific kind of species that might be passing down the coast in Essex, please pop the species in the chat, and at the end, Paul's got all sorts of data as we're going to find out, and he'll be able to answer your questions.
Brilliant. Thanks, Matt. Is that screen share coming through all right?
It certainly is.
Perfect.
So I should start by saying, those of you who know me, I'm not a photographer. So we've seen some fantastic images in the last few minutes. You won't see any from me on this, but you'll see a few videos and things. So to give an idea of what the migration's like and what sort of, I suppose, really inspires me with my bird watching. So it took me a little while, but I managed to finally dig out one of the photos that I've taken of Brent passing a barge offshore, which is obviously quite applicable for the bird. So a bit about me. I'm lived in Essex since 2006, grew up in Sussex and really got into birdwatching in my early to mid-teens. And because of where I lived in Worthing, there was a really nice local birdwatching club called the Shoreham District Ornithological Society that did a lot of sea watching in the bay at Worthing. And I could basically join a group of people there, learn the trade, had the South Downs behind me where I could spend my autumns traipsing and counting wild the passerines moving through. And it really sort of got me into the visible migration side of things. And I've been hooked ever since. I'm not a particularly well-travelled birder. I'm well-travelled, but not from a birding perspective. But I did have a year out before uni where I spent several months in Elat volunteering at the birdwatching centre there and things, which was a fantastic experience, and included several weeks voluntary wardening on Skomer, which emphasised what you were saying earlier. Get out there, enjoy it. It's a fantastic place, absolutely fantastic. So, having had a few years living in the doldrums of southwest London, where seabirds aren't particularly visible, we moved out to Springton in 2006. I have to admit, we moved out here as soon as we realised we could just about stretch to affording a house that had a sea view. My wife knew she'd lost me. That was the only house we were ever going to move into. But didn't really know what to expect, because at the time I had this book, which, if I quote from it, says, well, first of all, it said some positive things about Frinton, talked about collared flycatcher in June 1979, desert warbler in November 75. And it said Frinton on Sea obviously has the potential to attract small migrants under the right conditions. But then went on to say, there's some seabird passage off the Naze, usually in autumn. 1 October, 3 sooty shearwaters were seen, but in general, seabird passage is not notable on the Essex coast. There you go, check out the window. But essentially, I've been very fortunate. We live overlooking the sea. I've been the primary carer for our kids, so while I've been working through that as well, I've been based at home full time, so I'm able to keep a really close eye on the sea every day. When the weather changes, several times a day. If it wasn't dark, I'd be looking out at my screen now, and behind this is the sea. And if it was daylight, you would probably see my eyes flicking out there if there were flocks of brent passing, because there's a constant distraction there. So since 2006, I've been able to build up a good knowledge of what's going past, and have a good feel of what is going by, when it's going to happen, and hopefully try to share a little bit of that with you today. So, typical year. I mean, what I want to do is just pull out some of the highlights. What might you see one year to the next? So, a couple of slides here. Appreciate the quality is not going to be very good, but January, early in the year, is all about red-throated divers. And when this actually sort of gets to focus, you can hopefully see what a good passage of red-throated divers looks like. And this is a clip that's maybe 20, 30 seconds long maximum, and there's probably 100 birds if you include the more distant ones, which you probably can't see so well on your screen there, coming through. So it can be quite incredible, but that might be it. It might happen for 10, 20 minutes and then turn off. But that's the view of the number of birds that we've got offshore. And certainly since we've been here, I think the numbers have increased that we're seeing. We've had record counts year on year almost. And whether that's related to the wind farms creating a few more reefs out offshore, we don't know. But certainly it's fantastic to watch those movements in January. February goes very quiet though before spring migration kicks off in March. If you get a northeast or an easterly wind, start to see chaffinches and starlings heading east. When those winds abate, and you get a bit of a tailwind, then the Brent, the cormorant will depart en masse, which can be really impressive in the evenings. Stronger onshore winds bring the early gannet passage through, and we'll have a look a bit later on about where that sort of comes from and why we see it in those conditions. And then into April and May, which can be good, they can be really poor. The last couple of years, we've had some really good movements in April and May, but it's really hit and miss. It's not like being on the south coast and the passage up the English Channel. So I tend to be looking at the days when birds are moving up the English Channel, but perhaps moving into the Solent and moving overland and coming out into the Thames estuary and then following our coast a bit more. But that can include little gulls, it can include bar-tailed godwits. Obviously, Wimble's a good bird for spring passage here with the numbers that build up on the golf course. And then other times, sometimes scoter, chance of skewers. And then in late May, there's a really good sort of late Brent passage that heads off. But come June, that's when, for me, it starts getting exciting, because autumn is is the key time. That's when we've got all the interest. And autumn starts sometimes even in late May with the first curlews heading back south. And they'll gradually build up during June, July, more wader variety, start getting a few wildfowl moving, teal, etc. Same through August, to then September, October, when that's when the real excitement is picking up and coming through. So part of this is the land birds as well. So in September, you start getting hirundine passage, and this clip is just a bit taken from my mobile phone of a really strong movement of house martins one day along the lower sort of elements to Frinton, where we had about 1,200 come through in probably 20 minutes. And it's just like swarming through. And I think Matt shared an image last time of the 5,000 or so that we had up here earlier in the autumn that Matt Lonsdale had taken down at Holmhaven. So very impressive, these movements. And this is what really sort of inspires me to be out day in, day out and trying to see what's going on. So September, we'll see hirundine passage, meadow pipits will be starting, yellow wagtails, grey wagtails. And then once we hit into October, it's the finches and goldfinches in particular, but supplemented by all sorts of other species, such as the other commoner finches, buntings, larks, woodlark being a good bird to see and seemingly increasing a little bit. But actually, the next stage is the stuff happening out at sea, and variety increases at sea during September. You get more and more variety in terms of terns, skewers, waders, duck, but it's the brent that really make the season for me. And this is just a clip. I think it was just taken by Max Martin, so just shows what it's like on a good day when you get streams and streams of birds passing just like this continually throughout the day. The day we were talking about recently, typical example of this, it was just flock after flock after flock coming through like this.
Wow.
That's spectacular, isn't it?
That particular day, we had one flock that we thought was about 2,000 birds.
That's amazing.
And that's perhaps a good point just to talk about how do I count them, because about 13,800 and something the other day. Well, there's several ways I count.
Have you got lots of fingers?
I've got loads of fingers here and here and here. So I've got quite a few of these, which are click counters.
Yep.
And I use click counters quite a lot for the species which come through in small numbers and dribs and drabs. So things like meadow pipits, swallows, house martins, clicking. But for other species, I try as hard as I can to count the individual flocks. So just an example from the notepad from that day in question.
Wow.
Trying to count every flock as accurately as I can. And this is where some of the numbers come in, because it always makes me smile when I'm trying to desperately work out, is that 25 or 26 Brent in that flock? And then you get a group of about 250 and you just go, 250, that's fine.
Yeah.
And
not easy.
And it's that cumulative total that then adds up that gives the odd numbers. So yeah, you could easily say it's anywhere between 13,500 and 14,000 or even more. But at least it's a consistent count from me in that respect.
So that's something that I'd always wondered when you see totals of 14,007, you think that's a bit weird, but that could mean you've had a flock that you thought was 5,000, a flock you thought was 9,000, and then you had 7 individual birds. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the only species I don't count in those ways is swift, because when swift are moving through in the huge numbers in late summer, early autumn, I can be looking out the front of the house and holding up binoculars, and in a minute I can count 100. I can then turn to look at the back and count 100 in a minute, and I do it sort of by birds per minute on that approach, because there's just too many everywhere you look in those situations.
Well, that's useful. Okay.
So yeah, hopefully that explains a bit about the numbers that appear there and where they come from. So Brent aside, this is another bit of image from Matt Lonsdale. This is what makes a sea watch sometimes. Woohoo. When you're just sitting there and these sort of things just appear. You don't know what to expect. That was a flock of 13 spoonbill, I think it was.
Wow, that's good.
And as we've seen on the pop-up watches, you don't know what you're going to see one day to the next. You don't know what you're going to see 1 hour to the next sometimes. And for me, that's part of the excitement and the challenge of the sea watching. You also got very short views of birds, trying to get onto them, then trying to identify them. It's a very different type of bird watching to perhaps standing on Aberton Causeway and trying to pick through the ducks. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's a bit like Marmite there. So yeah, that's a quick summary really, I suppose, of the year as it goes through. I suppose I should just finish. December brings us back to the red throats appearing back in shore normally about second period of the month. But then I was just going to talk a little bit about where to watch. And this is, I'll come into wider Essex as well, but I'm obviously not an expert at the Thames estuary bits and pieces. But just to put some context on this slide, we've got some fairly interesting local characteristics here. We've got the coastline from Walton that then slopes back sort of more southwest towards Holland. So birds moving parallel to the coast actually go quite a long way offshore by the time you get to Holland Haven in certain conditions. Likewise, birds coming up from Holland and Clacton coastline can head out and be appearing to go offshore more. So on a local level, it can be very different. Similarly, the pier at Walton can direct birds out to sea a bit more. Then they can see Orford Ness and Bordsea beyond Landguard, and they head out sort of northeast. And Landguard quite often doesn't see a lot of the northerly movement that we can see off Frinton. But the arrow I've just shown on here is something that happens quite a lot, and I've seen lots of waders, terns, duck, even skewers sort of coming over the top of the house, having presumably done this cut through Hanford Water, which is quite interesting. Even though the passerines come down from Landguard, they don't seem to go through the naves when they're passing south, so you assume they come down the coastline through Hanford Water and then they join the coast roughly over Frinton down towards the golf course. So even on this very sort of small level, the migration patterns and routes are quite distinct. At a more detailed level, I've just got a couple of slides here, I suppose, just to show what appears to be the main movement directions in spring and autumn, which puts into context the Essex position. So we know Canby down here in Gunners Park, really good places to watch for the birds coming in and out of the Thames estuary and the movement through those approaches. Other than that, we obviously don't have particularly great promontories sticking out into the North Sea from Essex. But we see these various flight paths coming through. So birds such as our brent coming out of the estuaries from the Crouch, the Roach, the Blackwater, quite often in the spring can see them coming past Frinton, but they're heading out. They're going away east. They're not heading up the coast. So they're heading away. Other birds such as the gannets and to a degree the spring skewers tend to be in strong southeast or east winds. So you assume they've come up round Kent, come round Thanet and Margate, and then they're pushed into this bit of the bay before then coming back out to the coast as they move north again.
Okay.
Some species, chaffinch, really good example, loads seen this March, coming over Frinton and the Naze and heading out. Do they actually hit the coast anymore, or is that their departure point for the continent? I don't know, but really interesting to sort of try to piece together the information we have on these. And then in autumn, it's stuff going all over the place, frankly. Stuff coming south into the Thames estuary, then relocates north, comes back, but again, tends to miss out Landguard to a degree and presumably head off in sight of the Orford Ness direction. Some of the birds, I mean, this morning was a really good example where first thing the light was really good. We could see very distant birds moving over the horizon that by their flight style and jizz, we could see were gannets. And these are birds which are probably just heading down straight to Thanet here, well offshore from Frinton. But the brent and the cormorants and the other duck are coming in from the east all the time, joining the coast and then heading south. You know, a lot of birds then heading overland through the Medway and disappearing off in that respect. So,
do you know if there's any kind of confusion with birds? Do they sometimes sort of hit Essex and head north by mistake and then end up turning around and are seen heading south again? Does that happen, do you think? Or
it's a really good question, Matt, because what we quite often see in northerly winds is duck coming in from the south. And there was a day last year when Matt Lonsdale, I think, was watching from Albany Gardens in Clacton. I was watching from Frinton. We were both seeing ducks coming from the south, and he had 100 plus teal going south. I had 100 plus teal going north. And it was almost like they got to the coast, they didn't quite know which way to go.
Oh.
Okay.
So that's a bit of background just on the general movements. What I was going to do next was just try to help everyone understand what is it to look for to try to get onto one of these big movements, because predicting is terribly difficult. But the movements we've had this year have fitted a sort of a pattern that I've seen over many years now. And it's all down to the prevailing weather conditions and the conditions that have been in place for the sort of days and weeks previously. So 19th of October was a big day, and these are sort of surface pressure charts showing 7th of October, the 10th, 14th, and the 18th. And you can see throughout it's a strong sort of southwesterly wind, or it's a northwesterly wind, and it's continuing all the way up through the Baltic. For all of these cases, that it'd be a headwind for birds moving south. And then when you get down to the bottom right here, the 18th, you can see there's a little bit of high pressure starting to build out here, and these strong westerly winds are now easy, and you're starting to get some easterlies coming through here. So I tend to look at what's the weather doing in Copenhagen, because if I'm getting easterlies here, I'm thinking the birds are going to depart, and then they might end up with us the following day. And that's exactly what happened on the 19th, because the following day, this nice little bit of high pressure, calm conditions, birds thought, yep, we'll depart now. They had a tailwind, and as they got close to the UK, this approaching low pressure system, stronger winds, focused them all onto the coastline of East Anglia. And that day, almost 8,500 Brent, 500 widgeon, good variety of other species moving through. So it's all about this weather window and a bit of easterly winds encouraging birds out from the Baltic and from their staging grounds in sort of Germany and Holland. The bonkers day this year, 13th of November. Again, 1st of November, it's really strong westerly winds. 6th, it's still a very strong westerly airflow. The 10th, still a very strong westerly airflow. But by the 12th, we're starting to see this high pressure building again and seeing some easterly winds coming in here and relieving of the winds in this location.
So were you seeing any birds moving in those westerly winds, or just very few? And then the floodgates open when the high pressure builds, presumably.
Yeah, very, very few birds. In autumn here, in westerly, you get the small passerines, the finches, but not the brent typically.
Okay.
So it's these weather windows where almost you're unblocking the system by taking away the strong westerly airflow, so birds can move east. And I'm not one on Twitter, but I did come across this great stuff from some of the Dutch individuals where they've got radar sites where they show these are all individual birds that are tracking out and leaving the coastline. And this was on the night of the 12th of November. So they're here in this nice bit of high pressure, light tailwind, all of these birds moving across.
Wow.
And the following day, widespread arrival down the east coast. Redwings and fieldfares, I think, we're seeing quite widely almost across the west of the UK as well, because they've got so far with that tailwind to shoot through. But the numbers were absolutely staggering. 1,300 Brents, fantastic total. 2,000 pintail, I think, is probably a single day record for Essex.
Wow.
For all the wintering birds we have. And we had flocks of up to 220 coming through. In the morning, we were excited about flocks of 50. By the afternoon, we were it was gobsmacking. It was just incredible to observe and watch.
How long were you watching for that day? Were you out all day virtually?
Yeah, I was pre-dawn. So from first light, birds were moving. And even after dark, I was listening to the Brent going past.
Wow.
So hopefully just trying to give a flavour of in the autumn, what are the good conditions? I'm never a great one for predicting. I can just look out the window. But if you're wondering, do I go sea watching? That's a really good thing to look for an impressive day.
So which website, or where do you get the information that the high pressure charts? Which website do you source those from?
I tend to just look on the Met Office.
Okay.
Quite often I'll just on the BBC website type in Copenhagen rather than Printon and go, oh no, it's still westerlies there, and then go, oh no, it's supposed to go east on Sunday. Well, that might be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think this is a couple of older ones, but just showing some days in 2014 when, again, 14,500 Brent when the easterly winds kicked in. from Holland, getting the flow across, and 30th of October, where there is constant flow of low pressure, but there was just this little gap in the middle of high pressure that the birds started them. So, yeah, sort of in summary, it can be hard to predict, but there are some signs there. Generally, sort of anything between a northeast and a southwest can be good, but any conditions can be good. If there's certain species, certain weather conditions are better, can be rewarding, but you do spend a lot of time looking at the sea.
Yep. That's the thing. You've got to kind of learn what the birds are as well, haven't you? So yes.
So you can have the lovely days watching the sunrises, but you do get the odd day when you end up looking like this sort of chat that we came across today.
I recognise that person.
Yeah, I recognise that as well. That was me trudging back from the facilities earlier on, wasn't it?
It was.
Oh, brilliant! Well done.
So I kind of hope that was of interest. And if there are any sort of questions or bits in the chats, I can talk about specific species and what they've got. I'll quickly just flick something up here. This is a bit of the output that I have from my database. So this is, we're able to compare species. What I've got here is showing essentially the cumulative totals of a species by
that's amazing.
year. This is showing the 3 divers. So I've got the commonest one, red-throated diver, scale on the left-hand side. Black-throated and Great Northern are much rarer, so it's a different scale. But just showing the relative peaks. So as I talked about, red-throated divers peaking in January, coming again back in March, returning in December. Quite a strong Great Northern passage in March, and then also looking at movement in November, December. Whereas black-throated is much more sporadic, but this sort of time of year in now is when I feel is the most important time the most likely time to see them.
Yeah.
Well, the chart right is looking at the sort of percentage totals by wind direction. So this shows that Great Northern Diver actually, most of them have been seen in northwest winds.
Okay.
Red-throats mainly in southwest.
We had an email for a message from County Recorder Mick Tracy he said, can he send congratulations to you for finding a new bird for Essex?
Yes.
For those who don't know, on the 31st of October 2021, Paul recorded a white-billed diver at Frinton. A description was submitted and has been accepted by the ID panel. Excellent. So,
And you can read all about it in the Essex Bird Report 2021.
There you go. Excellent.
Excellent. Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. Well done. And I must admit, I'm so impressed with not only your dedication, because you must put in, hundreds and thousands of hours into doing this, but also the meticulous way that you keep your records, and then the way that you stored the data, so that this is really useful data, not just for yourself. It's a really useful data to keep for the county in general. So yeah, stupendous work. And I think I was talking to you before. You said that before you came to the county, as you mentioned in the book that you read from, no one really thought that we got seabirds, and you said it before as well, Steve.
We like when you appeared, Paul, on the scene, it's like, who is this bloke? We don't get seabirds in Essex, and this guy's turned up and he's recording all this stuff. And it just goes to show, if you put the time and effort in, the birds are there. It's I love these charts.
They're brilliant. We were doing a little bit of prep beforehand, actually, and both Steve and I said, should we cancel the show tonight and just sit and look at Paul's charts all evening? It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So yeah, if anyone wants to know just data on any species at all, just pop it in the chat quickly, and we'll see what data Paul's got for the species. So we've got some messages on here. First of all, just going back a little bit, Frankie Robertson said he remembers photographing a Dartford warbler at Rainham Marshes a while back on a BTO walk, which is good. So well done, Frankie. Richard Chu, echoing what I just said, amazing effort and dedication, Paul. Your house should be designated as a bird observatory.
It is known locally as the Frinton Bird Observatory.
And Richard's also said, Paul, do you ever record any flyover knockmig in addition to daytime vismig? Also, do you know the total number of species you've recorded? Now, I'm gonna do this while you're telling me this, because I'm very jealous of your house list. Go on.
So firstly, nutmeg. I'm a very, I suppose, traditional nutmeg in that I'll sit outside and listen. I'm really tempted with doing proper nutmegging, but I waste enough time staring out during the day that I don't think my family would forgive me if I did any more bird watching at night as well. But I have been known to disappear in the evening and then be found sitting on the balcony, chuckling away to myself as red-wing seep overhead and fieldfares chack and Brent gurgle past. So yeah, very, very old school, but really nice. And it's, again, it gives you an idea of what's coming the next day. The extreme, I have been caught at night with the telescope on the balcony looking at a nice full moon with a big moonshine over the sea when there's been a big movement of Brent, and I've actually been counting the Brent at night through the moonshine.
Fabulous. That's brilliant.
I can only ever admit this in this forum.
Yeah, but you know what? That must actually be quite kind of like, cathartic almost. It must be quite sort of, a lovely thing to do as well. Really, really calming. Yeah. Oh, well done. So Frankie said he recently visited Gunners Park and Shrewsbury Ranges, saw loads of dark-bellied Brent geese. So yeah, I mean, again, echoing what you said, we get lots of dark-bellied Brents around the coast at this time of year. It's what I find is really interesting as well is, okay, yes, it's the winds, that's a huge factor in it, but how do they all know when to go? It's like they all go. It's incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and I think the Brent tagging that's been done is really telling us a lot, as with all the other bird species that are being tagged and these geolocators. It's amazing to see why on mass they move on that day or they move to the same locations, etc. Just incredible.
And just a few people saying thank you. So Mike O'Halloran, really interesting, Paul, thank you. Paul Everett said thanks, Paul, fascinating. Tim Hayward said thanks, Paul, that's really impressive. Sarah Henson Webb, super interesting to hear about the impact of the weather. Meticulous record keeping, top job, well done, Paul. And Richard Chew, thanks, Paul, awesome work. I mean, 100%. I'd echo.
Absolutely.
I'd echo that. This is going to be a very stupid question, but have you got a particular kind of highlight of either the year, something you really look forward to? Is it the Brent Passage in the autumn, or and have you had a highlight, memorable day? Maybe I know you had that mad one recently, but anything over the years that beats that?
There was a day that was, I think it was back in 2014, that there was actually a write up in one of the old Essex birding journals that I think we had 25,000 odd Brent through in a day, and it was a half term, and I had my two young daughters with me, and trying to juggle looking after them during half term and look out the window at the same time. Ended up taking them down to the beach where they found some friends, and they got very cold, they got very wet, they got very neglected, and I just sat and counted Brent. For me, it's the spectacle. I love getting to sort of late September, October time, when it can be the finch flocks coming through in numbers, it can be the starlings coming off the sea. I mean, this morning we had one flock of starling in off through all that horrible rain in Matt's image earlier. It clears, and out of that comes a starling flock. And the other weather we've had this week has been flocks of lapwing coming out of the weather, blackbirds, and it's that spectacle of migration that, for me, doesn't matter what it is, chaffinches in spring, starlings in spring, it just really enthralls me, really motivates me. And
have you got data for the passerines as well on here, things like chaffinch?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go on, pop in chaffinch, let's have a look at it.
So is there anything that you haven't recorded that you would have expected to see?
I think it goes back to the question I didn't answer about the house list. Actually, I think my house list is, because I did this for Matt about a month ago when he asked me, it's about 237.
That's incredible. 237 is really good.
Actually, and Richard Chew just asked the same question as well. He said,
really
maybe
good.
Albert the black-browed albatross.
Well, we were hopeful. Was it a couple of years ago when he tracked down the Suffolk coast, but daylight ran out before it got to us. I mean, the one species that I've seen one flyby, but I'm always surprised we don't see as many of these. It's perhaps grey phalarope.
Okay.
You know, seen them down at Holland Haven, but passing by at sea, no. That's a really good question. It always surprises me we don't see as many terns as I would expect. You know, we get good movements of sandwich tern in late summer where they obviously feed in the outer Thames estuary and come back to roost on the Naze or the estuaries up at Harwich. But we've only had sort of really, I think, one big movement of common terns in the autumn, which was a bit of a quirky weather location. But otherwise, you know, getting a 3-figure count of terns is quite unusual compared to when you're in the Thames estuary, where that would be quite regular to have the movement up into the inner Thames.
So the charts you got there for chaffinch, that's actually quite interesting, because it looks like the spring passage is more kind of focused. The more birds move through in a shorter period of time, I guess, coming in to breed and
get to the breeding grounds, haven't they?
Yeah.
So they're just
But yet in the autumn they're a little bit more spread out in terms of departing. You know, a little bit more leisurely, maybe. I don't know. That's interesting. Is that a pattern that's repeated with other passerines? You know,
and probably if we put starling and maybe siskin on top of this.
Okay, yeah.
Siskin, I imagine, would be similar. It's a different scale, but we get that spring peak, and then sometimes we've had some years when siskin's been a very protracted autumn migration. Doesn't quite work on showing here because essentially the north and the northeast movement is spring, the south, west and west is the autumn. But
That's interesting. A lot more siskin leaving than a recorded sort of coming in. I wonder why that is. Is that, do they come in from different directions, do you think, siskin to breed, or?
Don't know.
Yeah.
The honest answer.
That's really interesting.
I mean, chaffinch for me is an interesting one because the last couple of years, probably since the COVID lockdown, I've seen a lot more chaffinches in March. And I don't know whether that's just because the conditions have been better, or as my kids have got older, I'm no longer running around at that particular time in March trying to get them up ready for school and out for school and missing the passage. And now I'm seeing it because I'm aware of it. I'm then looking for it more.
But it is interesting because the graphs replicate each other somewhat. Not somewhat. They really replicate each other, don't they? And go on, pop in starling as well. Then let's have a look and see what starling does.
Starling's I'll probably throw the scale out totally.
I will.
I'll put starling in there and take out siskin.
There you go.
So, the same. Huh.
That's amazing.
That is fascinating.
Tend to be a little bit later in the autumn.
Yep.
As seen today, but strong spring passage in the same weather conditions, really.
And do you use this?
Right, he's got a bit funny there.
Yeah, I didn't get that, Matt, I'm afraid.
Oh,
again.
Hang on.
He went a bit robot type.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I said, do you use this data just to look back on for recording purposes, or do you actually use it to help predict what might be coming this autumn, this spring sort of thing?
Oh, no, I've never thought about being that proactive.
Okay. Okay.
To be honest,
I just think it's fascinating.
This was only collated when I wrote the bits for the Essex Bird Report. So it's obviously been a fantastic source of information, moving forward, but no, I don't use it to predict anything. I use it more to look and go, well, my gut feel is that, for example, chaffinches are strong in northeast winds in spring.
Right.
That confirms it.
Yeah.
I guess over the years of accumulating data, you're going to get more and more confirmation of that as you go, aren't you? So yeah. Oh, that's absolutely fascinating. Right. Has anyone got any questions? Let's have a look. Anyone want to know any species? Last chance before we move on. So Frankie Robertson said, I know you didn't ask me, but my greatest sighting was seeing an adult Sabine's gull while on a holiday in Norfolk at Cly Marshes. Fabulous. That's always a good goal to see. And Richard has said, is there a species you haven't seen yet? Sorry. You've done that one, haven't you, Steve?
Yep. Yep.
No, excellent. I think that's it. But absolutely fantastic, amazing data. And and thank you so much, not just for doing this tonight and for helping us with the 2 pop-ups that we've done at Frinton, but thank you for just being you and being in Essex. It's amazing.
Right. It's fantastic, and just to sort of reiterate what I've said to lots of people is, you know, a lot of my enjoyment also comes from showing others. So if folk are coming up to Frinton, I'm in the autumn, I'm often out and about on the greensward, and you'll spot me. If it's a bit colder or there's less happening, I might be in the house, but always welcome for, you know, drop me a text or an email. Always happy to come out and help and show people where I can, really. So yeah, do feel free to reach out.
Okay. Yeah, so if anyone wants to contact Paul, probably the best way to do it is if you email the society, so info.ebws@gmail.com. That'll come through to me, and I'll be able to forward your message on to Paul and see if he's around to help. But yeah, I mean, just standing next to Paul, watching, you know, he really knows what he's doing, and you will find things that you wouldn't see on your own. And you're a jolly nice bloke as well. So yeah, thank you very much.
Well said.
And also, people now know what you look like, so you can't hide. You're out there.
And just go to show North East Essex is slightly better than 3 sooty shearwaters.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
They need to rewrite that book, I reckon. So
go on then. That can be the last speech. He's gone. Clear them all and just put in sooty shearwater. See what the records are for sooty shearwater, because I've never seen one. I'm gonna use your chart to predict when to go and have a look for them.
Sooty shearwater, fresh wind between east and northeast in September or October.
Wow. There you go.
And that peak was largely one day when there was 16. So I had no shearwaters, I think, for about the first 3 years that I lived here. And then we had a day when I had 16. I think we had 20 off the northeast Essex coastline. Yet to be repeated.
So look for them in the autumn on easterlies or southeasterlies. Okay. I'll make a note of that. Thank you.
Okay. Remember that, Matt, and you'll see one. Yep,
definitely. Well, I did actually miss one because I stopped to get my lunch on the way through to Holland Haven, and Simon Cox had one fly past. And if I hadn't have popped into Tesco's to get my lunch, I'd have seen it. So there you go. There's a lesson there somewhere.
The moral of the story is get your lunch before you go.
Yeah, exactly. Or get up earlier. Right. Thank you very much indeed, Paul. I don't know if you want to stop the screen share there quickly and we'll say goodbye to you properly.
Thanks, everyone.
No, that was amazing.
Yep.
No, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your such knowledge there.
Yeah, really superb, really interesting. And I hope everyone else found that as interesting as we both did. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Paul.
Super.
Well done.
Thanks all.
Brilliant. Take care.
Yep. See you soon, Paul. Good luck.
Oh.
That was amazing.
Brilliant.
Just goes to show the what's the word? The rewards of keeping records.
Definitely.
So if you go out birding and you're sea watching, send your records into the Essex Birdwatching Society, or enter the sightings on the website. It's very easy to do. And again, we'll talk about this now anyway. But obviously, if you're not a member of the society, then why not? But yeah, so £16 a year. And Essex Bird Report. So this is what Paul's one of the sub-editors on this. So if we find a species, which I'm going to try and find something of note. I'm not going to be able to find anything now, am I? But yeah, widgeon. I mean, take widgeon for example.
Yep.
We've got all charts in here, and Frinton features. Holland Haven, Frinton area features very, very heavily. So all Paul's records go into here, and just makes it what a great publication it is.
It's brilliant. I mean, you can buy this separately, but why would you want to? It's £10 to buy separately. For £16, you can join and you get this as part of your membership. You also get 2 of these, which is the Essex Birding Journal. It comes out every 6 months. There's a new one coming out in January time, I think.
January, new ones. A fixture card here as well, and it's just got all of our events and stuff in. So
loads of articles, loads of pictures, loads of stuff. Yep.
And it's got all our contacts, the committee members and editors and the report and all that sort of stuff. So Yep, £16 a year. Ideal Christmas present. Christmas is coming up. Is there someone that you know? Is there someone that you know is a bird watcher? Because it'd make a really nice present. So.
And as you can see on there, that from our website, you can just go onto the ebws.org.uk website. You've got the Join Renew button up the top here. Tells you a bit about it, and then you can choose an adult membership or a junior member. Anyone under the age of 18 gets to join for just £4 per year. And you can, as Steve said, gift a membership as well. Just join and put the person's details in who you want to gift the membership to. And that will be a fantastic thing to receive at Christmas. I'd be pleased, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So no,
hint to anyone that may be watching out there who rhymes with Mina or Weena or Tina. But yes, that's a really good present. Talking about Tina very quickly, I promised earlier on.
Please do. Yeah, you promised.
Yes. I haven't done the new feature, have I? I nearly forgot. Oh my goodness. Right, hold on.
I have no idea what this is going to be. So
this new feature is called where are we? This was hastily prepared earlier on. Ta-da!
Oh, here we go.
Colin the Crow family update. So, as anyone who's been watching this show over the last few months, you'll be aware that we have a family of crows outside the home. We've got Colin, and we've got all the various siblings. We've got Betty, his other half, and I think we had Cheryl and Russell and Hopper, the three children. So Tina, my better half, has been feeding this family of crows. She actually noticed the two to start with and started feeding them, and then they started building a nest over the road, and lo and behold, we've now got 5, and they get fed with sausage meat and pork pies. And the most recent development is that Tina's been observing them, and at the moment we've now got 2 lesser blackback gulls, we've got the 5 crows, we've got a jackdaw, and there's 2 magpies, and they all basically want this sausage meat in the mornings. But also, we have about 60 starlings. So what happens is she goes and puts all this sausage meat out, and comes back in and gets the binoculars and starts watching. And the crows and the magpies and the gulls and the jackdaws, they're all facing off and posturing and trying to, get territory and so on. Meanwhile, the starlings all rush in and eat it all, which is amazing.
Superb.
So there you go. That's the monthly update, and we'll have more in the future, maybe on Colin the Crow and his family.
I said to Matt earlier, I think Colin the Crow should have social media status. Instagram account, Twitter.
Yep, I think it could happen, definitely.
TikTok.
What we got coming up next month?
Oh, what we got coming up next month? Do you know? I have no idea.
So we've got a Peregrine talk. So we're going to be doing an online talk on Friday, the 2nd of December. Goodness me, December already nearly. And the talk is by Ed Druitt, who's the author of a fantastic book about urban peregrines. And he's going to be presenting a talk online via YouTube on peregrine falcons, which I think a lot of people's favourite birds. They certainly were my favourite bird when I was growing up. We'll be sending out details on that via the MailChimp email account. So if you haven't subscribed to that yet, go to our homepage, ebws.org.uk, and at the bottom of the homepage, you can subscribe and you'll be kept up to date with all society activities. So that's on the 2nd. And then obviously we've got the field trip, haven't we, on the 18th?
Yep. So Sunday, the 18th of December, it's to Fisher's Green in the Lee Valley. So if you've not been there before, really good site, great for bittern, water rail, sometimes smew as well, siskin, kingfisher, redpolls. And that's meeting at the Stubbins Hall Lane car park.
Okay.
So there is a parking charge for that. So you need to get a car parking ticket when you arrive. But that should be a really good day. I'm away for that one, so I won't be there. But Matt, you're going, aren't you, Matt? So
yeah, definitely going. And I think we're going to have maybe try and have a bit of a Christmas theme if we can. So if anyone coming can either put on a Christmas badge, jumper, hat, maybe a bit of tinsel around your binoculars or your tripod legs. Obviously nothing that's going to be left behind, of course. But just be a bit Christmassy. That'd be quite a bit of fun, I think, because it'll only be a week away from Christmas, won't it?
Yep. And then hopefully we're going to be back, aren't we? Just before Christmas.
Well,
hopefully.
G'day, mate. G'day.
Yes, well, yeah, so we're hoping, I think we've got penciled in, it's the 23rd, I think it is.
Yeah, I think so. It's a Friday, isn't it?
Yeah, Friday the 23rd. So just before Christmas. So we'll be back, all being well. Now, hopefully, I'll be on the other side of the world.
Thanks, mate. Brilliant. That sounded good, didn't it?
I'll be saying good day, mate. So if you get where I'm going, yes, I'm going to Benidorm. No, I'm not really. So yes, hopefully, all being well, should be in Australia. So there is going to be a time difference, but we're hoping to run the show, me in Australia, Matt in Colchester. We don't know if it's going to work, but
if it doesn't work, it could be the shortest show ever.
Yep, fine.
But if it does work, which I'm sure it will, then I think it'll be really good fun.
Yeah, so we'll be back.
We expect to see lots of pictures of Australian birds, obviously.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Although I won't have the computer, so I'll have to have my iPad. So
that'll do. Helps fine.
It should work. I might even give you a guided tour of where I am or something.
Oh, that sounds like good fun.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? If technology works and all things being equal. So yeah.
Look out for that. We'll email you obviously again if you've subscribed to the website, and it'll be on the website as well, the details of the next show. And I think that's about it. Any more feedback?
No. Yeah, Pete Dwyer, membership secretary, is get your membership in ready for post for Christmas. And yeah, lots of comments from about Paul. How great it was, and yeah, we agree completely. Brilliant.
Don't forget, I don't know if you said just now, actually, sorry, I'm not sure, but if you do join now, you get the remainder of this year as well as next year. You may have said that already, Steve.
I didn't, but no, that's true.
Yeah, so join now and you'll get a month and a half now, and then the whole of next year as well. Go bird watching. I mean, Paul puts in the hours. He doesn't just literally wake up and see all these birds and stop after an hour. He's there day in, day out, every single day, watching and watching and watching. So the more you get out there, the more you will see. And it doesn't matter how experienced you are, you will get better. We're all learning all the time. Just go bird watching. It's brilliant. It's good fun. You're outside, you're in the fresh air. You can do it with friends. You can do it on your own. And you will see stuff wherever you are. There are birds. So it's a fabulous hobby. It really is a great hobby. Lots of people saying thank you very much. So yeah, thank you all to everyone. I don't think we've missed anything. If we have, apologies. Obviously, we're trying to keep our eye on everything, and my computer keeps going wrong as well. But
we're slightly overrun tonight, but we're never mind. Never mind. And thanks to all those people who entered the photographic competition. Thanks for all those people who are watching on YouTube. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. Very easy to do. It's just underneath your screen on YouTube. Very simple. Just click on subscribe. That'd be much appreciated.
And congratulations to Graham Oakes for winning the competition, obviously. And we're going to play out again with the photo entry. So for anyone that missed them during the break, if you did go off and grab a cup of tea, which sounds like a great idea, I'm going to go and get a cup of tea, I think.
Yeah, bedtime, right?
I think you've got to go there, haven't you? You've got loads to do the next few days.
Yeah, well, I'm on a course of malaria tablets, which are kicking in now. So
this time on Friday, you'll be in the Gambia, maybe?
Yeah, this time Friday night. Yep, all within Welsh Touchwood should be in the Gambia. So, yeah, hopefully a bit warmer than it is here in the UK.
And for anyone that doesn't know, anyone that's watching this, Steve runs his own bird tour company. He doesn't talk about it on here. I keep telling him to talk about it. He is brilliant. Steve does local days in Essex and beyond. He does trips in the UK where you can go away for a couple of days or longer, like a long weekend. And he does trips abroad as well. Next one, obviously, to the Gambia. Steve's a great bloke. He knows birds inside out. He hears birds that no one else can hear, and he sees birds that no one else can see. And he really is good to go out with. So please go onto his website, Swallow Birding, have a look on there. And if you want to go along and meet Steve and go on one of his trips, please do it.
That's very kind of you to say so.
There'll be 20 quid, please, mate.
I've got an old tissue in my pocket.
Oh, no, you're all right. Yeah, no. And get involved with the society. It's a great society. There's loads of really good people. You'll make friends, learn about birds, and it's just all good fun. So thank you very much, everyone.
We love you guys commenting in on the show, because it's not about us. It's you guys giving us feedback and questions and all that stuff. We love all that. So
Sue Hill saying they'll be in Essex soon. So I don't know if they're moving to Essex or just coming to Essex, but either way, come bird watching. Look on our website. Come to one of our events. Come to Fisher's Green on the 18th.
Yep.
Okay. Brilliant. And Frank Robertson said he's going to watch more often. So yeah, thank you to everyone. Fantastic. We're going to go, but I'm going to quickly share this video again.
It's great. Yeah, we'll say good night now, and then So we look forward to seeing you next month. Good birding. Keep warm.
Yep. And see you. I'll see you down under next month, mate.
I'll see you down under. Yeah, exactly. Good day, mate.
Right, here we go. Hang on.
Good night, everybody.
Is that working? Can you see it? Blank screen. Blank screen. Yeah.
Blank screen. Yeah. I keep expecting a picture to come, so it's all good with me, Matt. Excellent. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.